pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Keller, would you lead us in a prayer, please?
Everyone bow their head, please. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for the opportunity to gather together this evening and to discuss the needs of our fine city. We pray that you watch over the activities of this meeting, that they may be pleasing to you. We thank and praise you for all the gifts that you give us. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Okay, I need reading and approval of the minutes from June 6th meeting.
Motion to approve and suspend the reading.
A motion by Wolf,
Second.
second by Pillar. Discussion. All in favor of approving these minutes, say aye. Opposed? Thank you. Okay, approval of the agenda. Any changes, additions?
Deletions.
What's that?
Deletions.
Deletions? And we did 6B is off.
Correct. 11B.
And 11B.
Is the one part of 11B still on, or
No.
like?
It's just a notation. Motion to approve the agenda with the corrections noted.
Okay. Motion by Pillar,
Second.
second by Stern. Discussion. All in favor of this agenda, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, the agenda is set. Engineers report. Jared, welcome.
Hey, good evening, folks. How are you guys?
Good.
Hey, all right. So, you should all have a copy of my report for the week or the month. I spent the majority of the time talking about the water system project up there. Reminder, we have 3 general contractors. We have TAN Construction doing the underground work. We have DN Tanks doing the tank. And we have B&G Electric doing the electric work on this one. We have a weekly construction meeting at 8:30 on Tuesday mornings. TAN is getting closer to the end of their project. They have plenty of restoration and cleanup work to do, but for the most part, their pipe work and their road building is kind of going, according to plan. Once they get done, we'll provide a substantial completion, like inspection or walkthrough, generate a punch list, and give it to them. They're going to wait to do some of the road grading until DN Tanks is done with their project, because DN will be in and out, creating dust and messing things up. So we have until the end of the summer to get these 3 contracts done. But for the most part, work is progressing. DN is getting ready to do some of their pours up there. So this is a precast concrete tank. DN Tanks does have some cool videos on YouTube or on their website if anybody's interested in that. What they do is they build their panels on the ground up there, and then they will erect them with a crane and seal the tank that way. So they'll be in those pours here pretty quick. Any questions about the construction up there?
So then on the precast, it's just made up there, and just assembled? Is that?
On a cast, yes.
Okay.
Yep. So they have forms set up there. We asked the landowner for a little extra room so they could pour multiple panels at once and give some extra space up there. Yeah. So the difference between that and like a cast-in-place concrete is that they would have formed it up like a basement wall and just poured it, 4 or 10 feet at a time. But then the problem with those is you have cold joints that go around them, and those are leaking points. So the pre-stressed concrete tank, or who you mentioned, the cast, what did you say?
Precast.
Precast. It's kind of like that, except we're not shipping in precast panels. So that's what's going on. I have payments for DN Tanks and TAN Construction. I'll just go through those. For DN Tanks, it's contractor's application for payment number 2 for $257,287.50. I recommend approval.
Okay. So we're, motion by Stern,
Second.
second by Pillar. Discussion. Roll call.
Stern.
Aye.
Miller. Aye. Wolf.
Aye.
Owen.
Aye. Motion carried.
Then TAN Construction, what they're working on, again, is a lot of the water main. They'll be out of here and back. We don't generally like a lot of seeding to be done in the middle of July, so if the road building is gonna be done, later in the summer, I would expect the black dirt and seeding work probably to be scheduled more for mid-August at the earliest. Our spec usually doesn't allow seeding from July 1st to August 15th, just because we don't get, very good establishment, and we didn't on the street project a couple years ago. So I would say they'll probably have to maintain those areas with dust control until that kind of happens. But for the most part, it's, we have other construction contractors working up there. The final restoration will be done at the end. Like every project, we do have stuff that didn't go perfect. We're dealing with a fence issue and some curb that slipped in the hole. Those are all issues that have to be resolved before a project gets resolved. But at this point, I am recommending a payment for TAN Construction. It's contractor's application for payment number 5 for $454,873.29. Like always, we're withholding 10% retainage till the end of the project. Make sure everything gets done, and we're happy. So I'd recommend approval of that payment.
Motion to approve.
Good motion by Pillar,
Second.
second by Stern. Discussion. Casey?
So Jared, so this curb, I guess, that got damaged, what's that about?
There's some curb on Bluegrass when they were doing the water main lowering and insulating last week. I got multiple phone calls from inspectors and people around that some curb
Inspectors?
slipped or fell. Inspectors, yes, yes, definitely. So it's I'm not fully aware of all the details, but I wanted to mention it, so if anybody's asking you about it, we know some curb was damaged, and it's probably gonna have to get restored.
So it's damaged by TAN, okay.
If they damage something, they'll have to replace it. Yeah, definitely.
And then you mentioned fence. Are we still dealing with the same fence issue?
So the fence was put back up. They put wire on the fence, and I actually created a problem myself there. I talked with the landowner and figured out what they wanted up there. I helped them search. I thought I spec'd the right product, and I actually sent them the wrong gauge wire for the fence. So more engineering actually bought some rolls of wire that I'm picking up tomorrow. It just happened to be that this particular fence is not very available right now, so we had to find it in Towner. So I'm meeting a guy in Garrison tomorrow to pick it up. But between our guy and Tan's guy, they agreed to put the right wire up.
Thank you.
So that was a mistake, and that was our fault, so we'll take care of it. That's what we're trying to do to resolve that and get that thing done. And I don't know if you guys approve that payment or not. No? Okay.
Well, we have a motion and we have a second and more discussion. Roll call.
Pillar. Aye. Stern.
Aye.
Wolf.
Aye.
Omenauer.
Aye. Motion carried.
Expedition Estates, I was just told today that that developer is now working on trying to get bids for that corrective work up there. They had been negotiating with DEK and apparently weren't able to resolve their differences, so they are supposedly now looking to bid that out. And that means we probably don't have a schedule when that work will be done. Same situation. I'm not actively involved. I just got an email from their attorney today saying that. We do have a little sewer rehab scheduled for July. Dave just asked me when that was scheduled. I don't know at the moment, but I'll have to call and find out. That should just be a couple-day process. No digging, no excavation of streets, just trenchless repair. And then, Monty, did you want me to mention the alley stuff or just wait? Yeah. Okay, so the back 3 pages of your document are an engineer's report associated with alley reconstruction. I believe you guys are looking at setting up an improvement district for this. This is the alley just south of Main behind WRT where there's multiple landowners involved. correct way to do it is if you're gonna assess it, would be to set up a district, and you get the engineer prepare a report, this is the engineer's report, and you approve the engineer's report, and then you, if you have petitions or if you're gonna go about publishing a resolution of necessity, I'm not certain about, but, the, engineer's report basically says that the project's a $75,000 project, and it's, you just need this in the file in order to go about the process of special assessment projects. I was gonna maybe defer to some of your staff here, to ask Monty if
How we're thinking about going about the next steps here.
As I said in the notes, I did create a couple of different resolutions, creating the district if you want to do, create the district. Basically, you can do those properties that are directly adjacent, or you can do the whole block, or you can do the whole city, however you guys want to do it. The two that I did up were basically for those properties directly adjacent to the alley, the whole block. And I didn't do one up if you want to do it citywide.
So when you had conversation with the special assessment committee, did they have a recommendation based on your three different looks at it?
They would prefer that we didn't special assess it at all, to be perfectly honest. The chairman of the committee referred to the 20% that can be generally assessed on any project to all the property owners, or as I indicated in the notes, Pat and I did also talk about the fact that those improvements can be done on the building, utility billing, if you wanted to calculate that out in some way as well.
As you say, I guess, the 20%. Everyone in town, or just,
Yes.
okay,
Yeah, well, under the special assessment processes, we can assess up to 20% of the project cost as a general assessment on the property tax, basically under the deficiency levy. So, and then that would be one option. And as Jared and I discussed, what that cost, and a little bit of engineering that it would require, maybe that was something the city wanted to pick up if you were going to special assess it and just charge the actual construction back to the residents, rather than all the engineering and contingencies and stuff. So,
because our bid is like 58,000, I just rounded it up to 75 for some staking and some what ifs and whatever, but I know there'll be a little bit of grading up there to make sure the parking lot ties into the alley, but not that much.
so Monty, if that was to be assessed citywide, the full amount is 75. How many,
nobody ever said if we were assessing it citywide, but
right, but if we
One of
did,
his options.
how many people, how many is that divided up by? What's our
we have
total number?
1,500 total parcels.
Okay.
So it'd be 500 each.
Okay.
If it was done just on a per parcel basis, but obviously the last few assessments, the committee has looked at front foot and square foot.
Well, I would like to see this project happen for sure, and I'm not sure what the best way to go about it is. West River, obviously is the biggest user of that alley per one customer, right? It's probably, the community uses it a lot as well. Not everybody has used to go through the alley, but.
And you have 2 mail trucks per day. So
Mhm. Right. Well, that alley's in bad shape. Can we assess a bigger portion to West River? I mean, instead of,
the committee has to develop what everybody's benefit is.
Okay.
So you're in effect saying that the district could be larger and the special assessment committee could weight it based upon their estimated usage by who benefits the greatest?
Yes.
I know like in this last year's project, I guess people had paid on the street on the next block over from them too, as well. It wasn't just those people.
How did we do Main Street? Because you got the businesses on there, but obviously many people drive up and down Main Street. Do you remember how that was broken out district-wise?
I don't know exactly. I know they did percentage, that the businesses were charged
No more.
25 or 30% of the cost, and then the rest was spread over everybody in the city.
And the reason why, I was told back then is that Main Street is like the widest one in town, and that the businesses, all they paid for just a normal size, like street, and then all that extra width that got paid for.
By everybody.
Yeah, by everybody else.
So basically, we're supposed to decide or come up with a district, if we want it just to the businesses, or to the block, or the whole community.
If you're going to do a special assessment, we have to create a district first.
If we do a citywide district, and I'm saying probably the same thing I said again, then the special assessment, we can direct them that our desire might be that they weight it in such a manner that those couple of local businesses that, tend to.
Yeah, and you can always make a recommendation to them, and then all they're doing is establishing the benefit and basically giving you a recommendation back that this is how we.
I struggle with, depending on how much frontage you have on your property, somebody that lives over in the northeast part of town and maybe never, has their own mailbox and never goes on that alley ever, but they've got a lot of frontage over there that they would get hit with more.
But it works the same for everybody. I'm on a corner, and so I pay for both streets. Doesn't matter how often anybody uses them, I still get to pay for a large percentage of it.
True.
I feel that the people that are bordering it, or even the whole block, should have to be special for those, not the whole city, because the whole city doesn't get special for my street, all of it. You know what I mean? So, if my street gets dug up, or Bluegrass Lane, they get dug up again, we're not gonna be paying for it, they pay for it. They paid for it last time, we didn't pay for it. So,
Pat?
You can change the size of your district also. So
Yeah.
you can start out however you want to, and if you determine later that this isn't really fair either, we need to change this, you can change it.
Do we have to republish it then?
What's that?
It doesn't require republishing then, and
I don't recall if it does or not.
I think if you're increasing it, probably will. If you're going down, it won't.
The thing about, if you start big, of course, it gives more people protest out, and streets and alleys can be protested out. It's not like water and sewer where it's a done deal as soon as you make your decisions. But the Special Assessment Commission, I think, is what you have to rely on for being fair to people, because they approach that pretty scientifically, and they try to be as fair as they can.
Okay. I'm gonna start bigger and narrow down citywide, see what it looks like, and then we have to narrow down from there we can. I know that's not what you want. I just heard.
I'm not gonna
I
make a
know.
motion.
I know.
So with what you just said, which of your examples?
I didn't do one up for citywide, but basically you're just creating the district to include all parcels within the incorporated city limits. I'm directing the engineer to do his report.
And would you say this is a unique situation because there's a post office, which is a community facility? It's not, like if there was a car wash on a different block, it's not really this, that's why we're looking at this unique, right? We're not setting any precedent here that every project is.
That concerns me a little bit. I mean, so the post office, yeah, you could maybe make an argument that more people in town would drive that alley because of the post office and the fact that there is a post office box, a mailbox there for drop-in during the non-hours, versus that beautiful alley behind the businesses on the other side of Main Street. I mean, that's in horrific shape, but that one probably isn't used by as many people in the general public because it doesn't have a mailbox.
That's the one reason I think you guys are going down this route. I just want to be clear about that. It's an amenity for the community, just like a swimming pool doesn't usually pay for itself. A post office is something you need to have. You can't special assess the post office. But you can assess whoever leases the building to them, but in every other community, post offices aren't special assessed, and the whole town pays for them because you can't assess federal property. So that is a good argument to include others.
Is it federal property though, because it's owned by someone other than
This one is not.
the Fed?
It's leased by.
This one is
It's
just
leased.
leased.
Right.
Yeah.
So it is owned by an individual. It's not owned by the government. It is an individual's property. So
Yes.
it could be taxed.
It could be.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah. But I'm just saying that.
Most communities don't, but it could be.
That is an argument to spread it out, because it's something that's used by someone.
So when my street gets redone, I'll want it spread out.
That is why I brought, that's why I'm just saying, it's
I
not,
understand a lot of people use it, but a lot of people could drive down every street. A lot of people use the 4th Street to go to the hospital, the clinics. Did they get a special compensation because it's 4th Street and it's an emergency? I don't know.
and that's why when I'm standing here in a year of creating a district for a different alley, is it assessment, or is it citywide, or is it not? And I just want to be clear why, if you make a certain decision, why you're leaning that way.
Tom, did you have a comment?
I'd asked West River for a huge donation. 2-3 years ago, they used the whole alley, new fiber ducts all up and down it. It was in bad shape then, after they got the building built, now it's totaled.
No. Sir, did you have a comment?
How much you want to throw in, guys?
No.
Yeah, well, talking about the post office, it serves a good chunk of the county, an argument would be, because there's at least 3 or 4 mail carriers that work off that alley and deliver mail. I mean,
I guess, yeah.
Anyway, that's all.
And actually, West River seldom uses it anymore. They've got parking elsewhere,
Right.
and it sits there, new building.
But after the construction, it really got beat up bad. Yeah. And they are making a nice improvement on the west end of that block by tearing down that old Mandate building. What would you like to do?
So I move to include the block around, I guess, around that alley
Okay.
as the assessment district.
Okay, a motion by Stern,
Is that one?
so that's,
Could be this one.
that's,
No, that's-
that one, okay. Okay, motion by Stern,
Second.
second by Wolf, discussion. Roll call.
Stern.
Aye.
Wolf.
Aye.
Keller. Aye. Omenauer.
Aye, motion carried.
So then I'll be creating improvement districts.
Yep.
There's the engineering report.
You'll need the resolution directing the preparation of the engineer's report then as well. Even though we've got the report then.
Directing and approving, I guess, is two. Do you have two resolutions for that, Monty? Or just,
No, I
don't,
don't.
okay, that's fine.
But generally we'll wait until the publication of these districts and see if there's any protest and then we'll
So we can wait on that part of it then.
Yeah, we just need the resolution directing the preparation of the report.
I do like the idea of asking West River for a donation for that alley as well. That can't hurt to ask. That could really cut down the assessment for the other property owners. All right, Jared.
Do you want them to approve that? I'm gonna ask you to approve the resolution directing the engineer to prepare the report.
Okay.
Yeah. So,
Motion by Pillar.
Second.
Second by Stern. Discussion. Roll call.
Pillar.
Aye.
Stern.
Aye.
Wolf.
Aye.
Omenauer.
Aye. Motion carried.
that's all I have, and I guess would be resolution or necessity, or determine if those people want to petition for it to maybe be the next step, maybe at the next meeting. Okay, all right, sounds good.
Thank you.
I'm gonna stick around though. Thanks, everyone.
We want to reach out to West River prior to. I mean,
Well, we'll still have some number stuff coming up later, so we can reach out to them and still get those numbers finalized.
well, I guess my thoughts are that they know that the numbers this versus this, depending on what West River might choose to do.
Are you going to everybody and asking them for a donation before you do an assessment? I want to do a donation for mine so that everybody doesn't have to pay as much.
You're able to do that. You should. I suppose.
I mean, I'll contact them, it's not a problem.
Yeah, I'll stop and see Troy too. All right. Moving down to 6A, sewer issues. Tom Beery. Tom?
Look all over in 529, I notified the city of a sewer backup in my basement. Did what we could to control it. Turned it in, then again, it happened on 6/3. Backed up again and notified the city again that there was a problem. Your insurance company, I'm sure you're well aware, has denied the claim. Said there's no negligence on the city's part apparently. I guess I beg to differ. Yeah. There's an alarm system down there, didn't work, I understand. Mine did, yours didn't. Has that been remedied or? Did the alarm system work?
The alarm system, does it, Dave, what's the latest on that? I know that Ryan was got a hold of those people.
I know they're still carrying the pagers, so I'm assuming it's working. We're down on that lift station, but I have to ask Brian for sure.
Would you mind just stepping out and giving a quick call?
Okay, well, I guess I'm asking the city to pay for my damages, being the insurance company didn't. I don't see that I'm liable for, I was doing fine sitting at the lake till my alarm system contacted me, so. And I know I talked to Monty about this, you don't pay for sewer backup, but. Hey. Your alarm system failed. I don't know, how often is it tested?
No idea.
No idea. Okay.
No.
And then also, is there an audible alarm on it? The only reason I say that is, I was a fire chief forever. This elevator, when it was in operation, had an audible alarm on it when problems occurred over there. This part of town, we call sheriff's office and say, alarms go off. I think the same thing could happen down there. I know that I can't believe unless the train's going by, they're gonna hear it on 4th Street.
I know on a number of the lift stations, they have a visible, they've got a light alarm.
I think that one does too, however,
Kind of out of the
you
way.
know as well as I do, it's obscured by the trees. I can barely see that lift station. And the railroad tracks are high. So an audible could be a good back, maybe better than there. So was there an answer as to what happened to the alarm system?
The only thing I was told is that we had a failure of a wire. And that was gonna be replaced. That's the only thing I was told. I don't know if you're told any different.
The failure of the wire was the secondary pump not operating the way that it was supposed to operate. So you've got a primary and a secondary, and it's supposed to have the automatic switch over. And there was a faulty wire on that. I think the alarm notification was something separate. So we'll hear hopefully back today when it comes in.
Okay. And then also on this, while we're on this, I don't know what the schedule is for cleaning them lines, but I know throughout the years, the Dick Jacobs and the Roy Hayes on a regular basis, especially when that cafe restaurant is operating up there on 7th Street, those lines need to be jetted on a regular basis in that area. For the simple reason, if you're out there with them when they're doing that, there'll be grease plugs come through. I ain't saying anybody's dumping grease up there, but there's grease comes. It's kind of.
Well, I'm not sure.
But anyway.
We never had the jetter before,
Had a jetter.
but they was not the one we have now. But I'm not sure.
They've had a jetter for years.
I don't know if they ran fire hose down that too, or use.
The old Green Monster was similar to what you got now. It was a high pressure pump. Stick in the hole and it takes itself down the line.
Let's find out.
It is working. It did the self-check this morning, and it's working. The repair that he's done on it so far, I mean, there's a more permanent repair coming, but it is, he said it paid one off this morning.
So how often is it tested?
I believe just every morning.
Okay.
And he said that morning that failed or went bad later in the day, that it actually paged that morning, it did the self-check. So the system failed after that.
Okay. So I guess that's the other thing, I asked the insurance company, how many claims he'd had if I hadn't notified him. Well, not just, your guess is as good as mine. I said, yep, it is. I'm glad I found it when it was only an inch wide instead of 5 feet.
Yeah, I agree.
But anyway, I'm still asking city to pay for it. I had my insurance to come look at it, and it's over $10,000. That's without Serpro, who I hired twice out of Bismarck to come and stock up what we couldn't with shop vacs and disinfect it. And leave dehumidifiers for 3 or 4 days. I haven't got my bill, but talked to the manager today. He said between the 2 incidents, insurance is gonna run over $2,500.
So Monty, if I'm correct, we've had this happen in other areas of town. We've also had Ender find that we weren't negligent and even though the property owner asked for payment, that never happened.
Correct.
So there's been a precedent set that we've not paid those in the past, Tom.
Yep, I understand that.
I feel terrible that this happened to you. I don't know, that's why we have an insurance company that directs us on this. So Pat, I don't know if there's anything you can think of or that, I don't know.
So I guess why was the claim,
What Monty had
Turned down.
explained to me, and it was in the letter back from the organization, is they pay out the claims based upon if there is negligence on the part of city employees or the city. And they said after their investigation of the incidents, they did not determine, you can see in the writing there, that it was negligence.
So that means, I guess, liability wise, we don't really have any kind of coverage then. It's just if,
Our insurance for the city is only based upon negligence. It's not based upon any kind of mechanical failure.
Yeah, as far as that goes, yeah, in this instance, but I mean, obviously we have liability insurance if there's other things that happen too. So, but their determination is based on negligence. I mean, it'd be like, I flush something down there that shouldn't be down there. Is the city negligent because I flushed it and they didn't catch it before it backed up? Is how it was explained to me all the time when we go to these conferences with them. They're seeing if you had done everything under your normal circumstances, that would have. So, yeah.
So if I turn into my insurance company, which I have not, and come look at it, I have a $5,000 cap. Is the city willing to pick up the balance? I've already told you, we're already into $12,000 here.
Mhm.
I mean, hopefully we can go cheaper than that, but.
Well, I can't answer that for you right now, Tom. I don't know. I don't know what to say.
I mean, I would like to help pay on a sum. I mean, I think it's our fault, but I mean, you know.
I think we need to be careful though, because it backs up in 20 homes. That's basically gonna bankrupt your city. And if it's not negligence on our part, I know I sympathize with the bill that you're getting, but, you know, we need to look at citywide, and our history shows that we have not paid. There were some that have been worse.
And in my
But they did have
conversations-
3-4 feet of water in their basement back up
Mike
And-
Freilich's house.
Kim and Gerald Wolf's, and it was not paid. You know,
And in my conversations with Mike and Ryan, they said what they ended up jetting out of there was a whole series of those supposedly flushable rags and stuff like that had bundled up there and caused pluggage. So it's a tough deal because you've got these things marketed out there that say that they're flushable, and yeah, they're flushable, but they wreak havoc on the infrastructure of sewer systems in cities.
So the problem was, I guess, the line had plugged.
On the second incident, the
and
first
now that the
incident,
pumps didn't work.
the first incident was the pump failure,
Okay.
and so we got that taken care of temporarily, and then the second incident was blockage in the line.
and the first one, the pump failed and the alarms failed also?
So that's what, the feedback that I got, yeah, the switchover mechanism failed. So it's not to say the second pump doesn't operate, the second pump actually works. It was the switchover mechanism, because the first one wasn't working.
But the alarm did work that morning. He said it went off, the page went off that morning. That it did the self-check.
And I mean, that's,
But when it called for the high level, it didn't turn on the other pump, and then it didn't set the alarm off, saying that there was a high level to the pager.
And with the second incidents, like I told Ryan and Mike that day, we need to get pace. Maybe we have line that's not separated, but maybe we have something gets catching, that might be catching a rags there or something, that we need to get it cameraed. So we know what that line looks like too.
Well, I agree, but don't you think they should have been jetted after the first incident? I've been told that you're pumping sewage from Krause Sewer Valley to the hospital out of that lift station. So you think how far did that back up?
I have no idea.
Neither.
I know they said that the lift station had about 5 feet, and it was pretty high in the lift station.
Yeah. So that means the line's gotta be sitting with it, so you gotta clear your lines after you clear your pumps.
And
That's my opinion.
Yeah, and I don't know where if they try to flush or what they try to do upstream. You know, do you know?
Well, was there done anything, that was a Saturday incident. After you went home, was there anything done Sunday or Monday?
That I don't know. When I talked to Ryan, after the first incident, then he did systematic checks where they went out there and they made sure that everything was still working.
I agree with that, Mr. Pillar. However, when I called him on the second incident, I was told by him and Mr. Lemire, the water's running. It's like, yeah, well, it's still backing up 2 basements, so it ain't running very well. Just what I was told. So I understand what your insurance company said, but
And I agree with what Nancy said too, is if we have a bigger mess happen, and we have 25 people coming through one, $5,000, and our insurance company doesn't cover us, then what are we gonna do there? Could happen. Kenny, what'd you guys do in the past?
Well, first of all, that Saturday morning, my wife saw that light blinking. And I told her, don't worry about it. They have an alarm system and the police department goes down there and checks that periodically. So that lift station has quite a bit of volume in it.
Mhm.
And I said, it's a weekend, so there isn't the big flush of sewer water going down there. I said, yeah, we could call them, but the alarm should go off, and also the police department
Should.
periodically goes down there, and there'd be enough time for that to be caught that light was blinking. Yeah, I feel bad, because I told my wife, no, we don't need to call them. They got backup. I guess that's never gonna happen again. But when I was on the commission, I don't recall the details of a lot of sewer backups. But I know Mr. Berry had a number of them, and one of them was the collapse of the sewer line under the railroad track, and we had fixed that. And since that point, there was no problem there. But there was always a problem at that time. Because of high flows, it didn't get through under the track, and it backed up eventually. Then when the source would cut back, then it would drain out. But I do remember over in the Hoover Second Edition that there was a sewer backup, and it came because there was a power failure on the alarm system, and the batteries were dead for the pager. I know that those residents over there, I don't know I can't remember what the city insurance did, but those residents over there at that time, they sued the city. And the outcome of that, because it was turned over to the insurance company, I don't know if they got paid. If they did get paid, I have no idea. I can't remember how much money, and I don't know how it covered their damages.
And that was Kim and Gerald's.
Mhm.
That happened.
There were quite a few over there that got Backup.
And that's the only situation from my experience on the commission.
Thank you.
And you're happy with your insurance company's investigation?
No, I'm not. I wish we could have helped you, Tom. I don't know if we can get a second opinion. I don't know if they would, I don't know.
Well, if the entire basis of their decision is based on, somebody not
Doing their job.
somebody being negligent, a mechanical failure or an electrical failure of a device that presumably worked that morning. I mean, when things fail, when they're unexpected to fail. And if you've got, something to where they're going out and they're checking this paging system daily, and then you get a failure, I don't see that as negligence on the individual's part.
So has the matter been corrected with the second pump not kicking in, or some set of contacts telling it to kick in? Yeah, what does he say, Dan?
It's a cable, it's a
There's
power
a
cable that
like, they have
failed.
the system is working, but they're getting cable and something else, I'm not exactly sure.
Because they came that weekend and
They came out
put a
that
Band-Aid
same,
on
they
it.
came out that same night,
Yeah.
yes.
So we don't have it's still a Band-Aid on there right now?
Yes, but it is working. What they did to bypass or how they got it, I have no idea. I wasn't there for that part.
Any other thoughts?
Well, the only thing, I guess, I know in the past, I know that in the lift stations, that, there's a little bit of talk about, but I mean, I guess, the changing out.
Communication.
Yeah.
Yeah, what we talked about was putting together a design for a more modern communication system in there and utilizing some of these funding sources that we've put our names in the books for. And then if we get approval for that, then that would allow us to move forward with that.
Because admittedly, so the communication system on there it's old. It's old and it's outdated. It still works 90% of the time, or 99. But I want to say last time we looked into that was over $100,000 to do
It's
communications for all of our lift stations.
Right,
Sure.
now with the water project, we put a new SCADA system into the city, but that was a water project, so we don't have the components for each lift station yet. But we can buy them. They're not cheap, I mean, it's a sizable investment of each one. So we are through, there could be some money coming this fall through the, like the SRF loan forgiveness stuff. We've tried, we're trying, there could potentially be some sewer lining or some meters or maybe some of these electronics for the lift stations that we could get done at that time. The bones of it are in place. We do have the SCADA system. It's just a matter of.
So we can do lifts. One year we can do a lift station. The next year we can do another one.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have to do them all at one time.
Yeah.
Okay.
If we can get funding to do them all, we could do that, or if you want to do them one at a time, we can do that.
Well, I know in that lift station by Tom's, that's the one that has the most flow of any of them and most action. So that'd be the one that I'd like to do first if we did any.
Yeah, the thought up until this time was, let's see what funding comes available, because when it comes to electronics and technology, it's an ever-changing scenario out there. And so the drawback potentially on doing one each year for a series of years is that you may have 6 different systems when all is said and done in terms of the physical equipment that's in each one of those lift stations. And so that's why we hadn't had failure. So we were looking at riding it until we could see if some funding came available and see if we could go after it like that.
Sorry, you don't have better news for you, Tom.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Gary, see Al didn't get the message on the park stuff that Dad gave me today. I don't know if you want to address that or not.
6B? Yeah. I saw Al walk in. So, Al, are you here for the Moses Park?
Yeah, was it resolved?
No,
Scratched off?
it was scratched off, but let's unscratch it. Let's 6B, it's back on the agenda. You're back.
Do I have to rescind my motion of approving the agenda?
Moses Park structure, Hazen Park and Rec. Al, come on up.
Well, we've been talking for a few years, trying to eliminate, get that out of here, and we talked different ideas of how, anything from burning it down to whatever, but most logical thing that would make sense is just to come in with a huge gravel fork of some sort and truck it out. And we were hoping maybe for some help with that, if there'd be possibility. And then take that concrete slab and assess that, if we could possibly put a picnic shelter then underneath that for Moses Park.
Mhm.
You know, there's power nearby, it wouldn't be too bad to do. But once you make sure we get that building out of there, which Scott, our maintenance guy, said that concrete is thick. Yeah. So, I mean, it probably would still be a pretty good pad in there, maybe a little mud jacking here or there a little bit too, if there is a low area. Make use of that area again. But that building is ready to fall in. It's been cleaned out, it's ready to be dismantled and all up. We don't have the equipment to do that, and wonder if there'd be possibly some help for that.
I actually approached Dan Fry a couple weeks ago, and I drove by there, and there was kids playing inside that log building, and it scared the crap out of me. You know, you can see a lot of logs are rotting and just kind of pushing down on themselves, and
The roof is there.
the roof, yeah, and so it's not just an eyesore; it's dangerous, in my opinion. I kind of spoke, kind of out of line, and I said, let's get that thing out of there. And I know they mentioned talking about burning it down a year or two ago, and there's just too many trees close to it. And, you know, if Dave and the guys could get in there with their bucket and help load that thing up and haul it out, you know, I would love to see that thing removed. If we get a shelf in there, it could be used more. That'd be all your guys' stuff, but just to help get that building out of there, I don't think it'd be.
Would that be able to be hauled to the tree site and burned? or
No,
That has to be separate.
we don't allow
Okay.
that stuff.
Yeah, I don't know what kind of poles it is, if there'd be creosote in them or whatever, I don't.
Nails in the roof and just,
Okay.
But, you know, I don't know what the rest of you guys' thoughts are on that spot, but I think a little help there would go a long way with our clam bucket.
I think a nice little picnic shelter would be perfect there then.
Yeah. I
If
agree.
we were gonna haul it, it would have to be, in small enough pieces to where they fit in
Dump truck.
one of our dump trucks
Yeah.
or whatever. And ideally, it'd be if we had a belly dump or a side dump or whatever. we
Mhm.
could actually load the longer pieces, but otherwise it'd be a lot of chainsawing or whatever, getting it cut into short enough pieces to get in our truck.
Yeah, I don't want our guys out there all day with a chainsaw cutting those logs up, but, you know, to use our loader and our dump truck to get it out of there, I think
Can you ask for volunteers from the community to see if there's anybody with chainsaw who wants to come over and help one day and cut those logs? No?
In the old days, yeah, but now that if someone cuts themselves, we're gonna be paying for their medical bills. But,
Yeah, I'm sure Scott and maybe summer worker could come over with their, under the parks and
Okay.
we got chainsaws and.
okay,
get it
well,
all
I think we'd be willing to help get it out of there,
Okay.
as long as it's, our bucket can destroy a lot of stuff, but you're right, we can't break those poles. I don't even know how long those timbers, if they're so rotted, I think they'd fall apart.
They would,
Maybe you'll
They
find that
must.
they do.
Yeah,
they would break down pretty easy, I think.
yeah. So if you stay in contact with Dave and
Okay.
work out an arrangement to how and when and whatever, their schedule, I guess.
Sure. Okay.
Unless the board has any angst. Okay.
All right, thank you.
By the way, my father-in-law said that was he remembers going to Boy Scouts when he was little in that building. It was on Main Street.
Except for Calvary.
Yeah, Calvary too. Yeah, that too. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks. Moving on. 8A fireworks sales. Let's see, we have Shannon Knudsen, remember fireworks?
Yeah, Shannon Knudsen for Memory Fireworks. And you can probably see that they pretty much set themselves up in the West Dakota Lumber Building. Police chief, fire chief just got over there within the last couple of days and took a look, and his recommendation is on the form.
Okay. Well, we need a motion to approve.
So on the form, it says that he's not approving it? Is that?
His recommendation is to disapprove, yes.
Do we know why?
So there's too many explosives stored next to flammables.
I guess my recommendation would be to go with the fire chief's decision. I mean,
Yeah.
I agree.
we have him look at it for a reason.
Yep.
So,
And we've gone by that on whether or not we were going to allow fireworks to even be used in town in the past, so I think that's consistent.
So no motion
So
is,
your motion to approve and then vote down. No motion
Should
doesn't
take
work.
some action.
Yeah, no motion doesn't
Because
work.
they're,
so moved.
okay, we have a motion by Wolf to approve. Second by Stern. Discussion? Roll call.
Wolf,
No.
Stern,
No.
Hiller,
No.
Omenauer,
No. Nine A, water sewer.
All right, this morning, Ryan submitted his notice. He will be taking a different job, so we will be short one of our water and wastewater specialists positions. And so Monty has pulled up the job description, got a little chat on it, and I think we're gonna need to move forward in replacing that position. Right now, in my conversations with Ryan this morning, he's working directly with Dave to kind of empty his brain out a little bit into Dave's brain to work along with Mike for the short term to try to help with some of the meter readings and different things like that. So informational. I don't know that we have to make a motion to move forward with posting this.
I'll just publish it and we'll get it rolling.
So I don't know if anybody has any questions.
I was just curious, in the water, I guess, the training outside of the certification, I should say. Is there anybody else in the city that's the next certified?
Not that I'm aware of.
So just Ryan then, on the certified?
Some retirees.
Mike's been on board for, what, a year, a little over a year now, So
And I think you have to have so much experience or hours of working in the department before you can even take the test.
testing, right?
Right. So it's, I had a long conversation with Ryan this morning and no, he's leaving on good terms. He's not leaving because he's upset about anything with the city or his current job or anything like that. It's just an opportunity arose that he felt he just needed to go after. So that's all that I have.
And speaking of water sewer, I mentioned having Paces come. Do we need to contact them, Monty, to tell them we need certain areas?
Yeah.
Cameron or?
And I know that I did talk to Ryan about that. He had indicated that he was going to give them a call because we also had some additional spots in town that we wanted to take a look at. I don't know.
I'll
Follow up with
Ryan
him on
and
that.
leave him some notes for Mike and I and.
Yeah, because we had a couple other locations that we wanted to take note of from Pace as well. So.
Great. Thank you. Okay, Jason's not here for streets, but Dave, anything?
Nothing new. Everything's going smoothly. We're still going and.
You got a new summer helper starting tomorrow or?
Monday.
Next Monday. Okay.
It's got a track this week.
Yeah. The grass just seems to be
Seems to
exploding.
be growing. Next will be down the road fairly soon here. We'll probably start painting and we need to get on our scraping and get that going.
I do have a question. I know up on Divide Street up there's a series of townhouses. I know that numerous communications have gone out to the landowner on that. And I'm just wondering if there's, in terms of how we back charge residents, when we go in there, the city goes in there and chops down all that grass and stuff. It practically runs a swatter in there. It gets so deep sometimes. The back charge to that, what's the basis of the charge that goes to them?
$100 per man hour.
$100 per man hour? It just feels like, because I see repeat offenders out there, that whatever we're back charging is, hey, that's convenient. I can pay $100 an hour and have somebody come cut the grass for me, and I don't have to do it very often because they can send me 70 letters before,
And then it just goes on their back taxes, right?
If they don't pay, they're invoiced right away.
I'm just wondering if we have to make it a little bit more painful.
We went from $25 an hour last year to $100 an hour this year, so.
And we're still getting paid to cut the grass. Okay.
I agree, Dan. It's very frustrating and very annoying that I just noticed the H&R Block building was mowed today by Al Schwab, I think, and somebody else is knocking that down.
And the frustration is there's neighbors adjacent and stuff that just, they take pride in their yards and everything like that, and to see that.
Have to change our ordinance that they give 1 day notice.
Yeah, I don't know what the answer is, but maybe it's something worth us having some further discussion on, because it's not really fair to Dave and his staff either.
No.
They have to go.
Well, it takes us away from jobs that we really should be doing. There was other stuff we could have done of our own, but that's getting pushed off now to a different day.
Yeah. And frankly, and by no fault of our city guys, they go in there and they cut that down, and then it still looks like crap because you're cutting down 2 feet of weeds, and then it all just, it looks horrible.
No one's gonna argue that.
I guess one other concern too is just homeowners that mow their grass. Riding around with Ryan today, showing me different things. The people that mow their grass and blow it into the street. Well, the first time there's a decent rain event, my phone rings or City Hall's phone, or your storm drain's plugged, we're getting some street flooding. I mean, Mother Nature puts enough debris on the streets that washes into these storm drains. Let all the neighbors with their weed blowers and blowing all that debris out into the street. That takes a couple hours after a rain event, or if we know there's a rain event coming, run around and check all the storm drains to clear them. I mean, I don't know what a guy can do or whatever, but I mean, it's pretty easy to drive by and see exactly where the fresh cut lawn is, because most of it's out on the street. Well, we gotta deal with it a couple days later when it ends up in the storm drains, or with the street sweeper. It's kind of frustrating, you sweep the street and you come by an hour later and it's still grass clippings and you just ran down with the street sweeper. I don't know how to address it or what kind of ordinance there is, but just food for thought, I guess. I know the guys get frustrated. City, yes, we've mowed some of our properties. You're gonna get some on the street. You can't keep it all up with our commercial mowers or whatever on some of our property. But I mean, we still always try to blow back onto itself or whatever, but.
Yeah,
The information in a paper to tell people that it's costing city money to go, I mean, just the information of what he just said, I didn't realize myself. Dan can do a nice article.
Dan does a great article. All the time. It's his favorite thing to do. Fire, police, forestry,
I have nothing at this time.
and then finance, busing.
I don't have anything anymore, but thank you. Thanks for thinking about me.
Buster ACD.
Okay, well, I don't have too much to report on other than the fact that our Mercer County area is hosting the State Economic Developer North Dakota Group starting tomorrow afternoon, evening, and then all day Wednesday, and then half a day on Thursday. And some of the people that we have on the docket to talk are Mr. Obenauer and myself, and the soon-to-be ex-mayor of Beulah and Beaver Brinkman. I'm hoping that goes well. Got Lynn Helms coming in with the Department of Mineral Resources. So we've got Mike Hopkins coming in from Bakken Energy to talk to the group. Justin Kringstead from Pipeline Authority. Lieutenant Governor Sanford is coming in. Josh Tigan, who is the Director of Finance with the Department of Commerce. Pretty sharp cookie. And then our grant writers, Ian McConnell and Carrie Cutting, are going to be doing a seminar on Bring Home the Bacon, is the title of it, Economic Development Grant Writing, along with Ashley Ruby from Lewis and Clark Development. And then that's a Thursday morning presentation. And then Wade Beauchamp is going to be in with Summit Energy, carbon capture, and then Amber Beauchamp's with the Livestock Alliance. So we have a pretty good lineup.
Mm-hmm.
I've been told too that we have seen the largest RSVP list of any summer conference. So I think we should be proud of that in terms of the numbers that are coming in. We're going to have over 100 folks in attendance. And of course, if there is a downside to it, the downside is we don't have a hotel in Hazen to host. And a lot of it's going to be done at the Cobblestone. In fact, tomorrow's events, everything's going to be at the Cobblestone and then the Civic Center.
The golf course.
And then the golf course. And the golf course will be small for 100 folks. Yeah. So anyway, but I'm hoping that it'll turn out fine and all the reports will be good. And so I guess if you are interested in attending, I'm sure you're welcome to come and listen, to whatever you'd like. I'm sure they've waived the registration fees, because you might want to pop in or pop out, I don't know, that type of thing,
Not what we're talking about. They don't need to come.
Yeah, no. And in case you're interested in hearing the Mercer County folks, it's at 8:45 Wednesday morning. Any questions?
Thanks, Buster.
All right, thanks.
All right, moving down to 11A. Board appointments, library, forestry, zoning, ambulance.
Last couple of times, the ambulance board representative has been a member of the commission, so I don't know if you want to just wait with that one until you reorganize and see. Didn't have anybody contact me regarding forestry or zoning. Keely Goder will serve an additional term on the library board.
Okay, I think we should wait until we reorganize to
I agree.
do those. Yeah. Okay. Do we need a motion to that all, Monty, for the,
Well, unless you just want to wait and just do them all at that meeting would be fine.
sounds good. $12A, auditor's bond resolution.
Annual thing we have to approve from the North Dakota Century Code. Again, based on the 25% of the amount of, under the subject to the auditor's control, or $250,000, whichever is least. The 25% for this last year was just over $1 million under the auditor's control.
Motion to approve the resolution establishing the bond for the city auditor.
Motion by Pillar,
Second.
second by Stern, discussion. Roll call.
Pillar.
Aye.
Stern.
Aye.
Wolf.
Aye.
Overall.
Aye. Motion passed, thank you. All right, July 4th, meeting and reorganization. The 4th is on Monday, correct?
Correct. Yes.
Everybody planning on being here that evening? Or do we have to move it
Do you guys?
to the 5th? Are you around on the 4th? Yep. I'll be here.
I might not.
You might not. That'll be tricky.
It will be if you want me to be.
You have a preference?
You around?
Yeah, I am. My kids are all gonna be home, so.
Okay. Then we'll leave it on the 4th, and that works for majority. Okay, July 4th. Sounds unpatriotic, but whatever. We're fine.
Probably a short meeting, I'm sure.
I'm sure. Yeah.
Oh, that's true.
Okay, number 13, public comments. Okay, down to 14, approval of bills, please.
Motion to approve the bills as presented.
Motion by Pillar,
Second.
second by Stern. Discussion. Roll call.
Pillar.
Aye.
Stern.
Aye.
Wolf.
Aye.
Overall.
Aye, motion carried. Meeting adjourned. Are you hearing back from any people on those letters you sent out?